Buyer's remorse. We have all been there. Feeling bad about a purchase and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm here to share some of my worst purchases in my 30s so far, which is the last 7-ish years, but it's not all doom and gloom. I'm also going to share some of my best purchases, tons of things I bought that I love and recommend, plus some purchases that actually save me money over time. And there's no twist. I'm not talking 401ks or long-term investing. These are actual items from shopping today. It's a look into how I actually spend my money for better and for worse. Let's get right to it. My first worst is my own studio apartment in Seattle. It'll be the best year of your life, they said. You'll get to know yourself, they said. Imagine all the good sleep you'll get, they insisted. I won't have to do other people's dishes, I thought. All right, that last one was true, but everything else was not. Not only was it a not so fun year living alone, it was an extremely costly mistake. I went from sharing a 3-bedroom townhouse in Seattle, paying around $750 all in, including utilities, to having my own tiny studio that more than doubled my monthly living expenses. Living alone might be great for some people, but it wasn't for me, especially as a social person. I was bored and broke to the tune of $12,000 in credit card debt. It was yikes. Number 2, scam football tickets via Craigslist. Now, this one is super embarrassing. Long story short, I desperately wanted to go to a big Seahawks playoff game against our rival. I found 2 tickets for $500, which was actually a steal at the time. I thought I did all the right things by meeting in person and getting contact information. What I failed to do was inspect the actual physical tickets. I got home and heard on the news about scammers selling fake tickets, all with the exact same seat numbers. I checked and, of course, I had those exact same seats, and the tickets were clearly fakes. The seller claimed that they didn't know because they also bought them on Craigslist. Then they blocked my number, and the police did nothing. Number 3, cryptocurrency. Luckily, this mistake only cost me around $200 all in, but I regret it nonetheless. I bought $200 in Bitcoin when it was at its peak. I took it out when it dropped in half and swore that I would never dip my toes in the cryptocurrency waters again. Well, fool me twice, shame on me. A couple years ago, I threw another $200 at Dogecoin right before Elon Musk was set to host SNL. During the show, I watched as the value plummeted. It was a painful reminder that cryptocurrency just isn't for me. It feels like gambling, which I hate. And for more about this experience, check out this video next, which I'll also link to in the description below. And be sure to let me know if you have a similar horror story about cryptocurrency in the comments. Number 4, fast fashion. The real problem here is I always try to get the best deal when it comes to shopping for clothes. However, I slowly learned in my 30s to buy fewer items, but buy quality clothing. Nearly everything I bought from H&M, Target, Old Navy, The Gap, Amazon, you name it, shrunk in the dryer almost immediately or otherwise became unwearable. And sure, I got a little bit larger in my 30s, but not that quickly. The fix for this again was buying quality items, but also getting a new washer and dryer when we bought our house that somehow doesn't shrink anything. Knocks on wood. Either way, buying fast fashion is a common mistake many people make and one that I hope you can focus on avoiding. Number 5, an iPhone 13. On the surface, this was a good idea. I traded in my iPhone X and my wife was trading in her iPhone 7 to get us 2 13s. The salesman at the T-Mobile store seemed super helpful. He claimed to get us the best upgrade discounts that he could and everything sounded fantastic. Strangely though, he did talk me out of getting the Pro model, which I figured out later was because it wasn't in stock, by lying to me about features that the base model had. Worst of all, my monthly bill went way up. I was adding my wife to my plan, and he convinced us to add a 3rd line, claiming it was going to be free because of a promotion. It was free for a month. Then we had to pay $25 a month for a line that we weren't using, and it took me 8 months to catch this and cancel it. It was an awful experience overall. The phone wasn't the one that I wanted, and my bill went way up because he lied and confused us. Not cool, T-Mobile. All right, that's the bad stuff, but I've also made some really smart purchases in my 30s so far, especially after I resolved to get good with money in 2018. Number 1, my Nespresso machine and cold brew maker. This was my first super well thought out purchase, starting with the Nespresso machine. When I committed to getting out of credit card debt, I knew daily Starbucks had to stop. I did the math and I figured out it would only take 4 months to break even on coffee if I bought the machine and stayed away from Starbucks. 1 year later, I got into cold brew and invested in this $30 maker. I used it for nearly 5 years, saving me thousands. I finally replaced it with the exact same maker a month ago because I love it that much. I highly recommend it if you love cold coffee, and I'll link to both machines in the description down below. But the moral is you don't have to skip your delicious daily coffee to save. You simply need to find an equally delicious option that makes good financial sense over time. Number 2 are miscellaneous electronics I use daily. I couldn't pick just one electronic item to include on this list because there are so many I have to highlight. These are products that I researched, their quality, they've lasted for years, and I intend to use these products for years to come. So in no particular order, we have the M1 MacBook Pro. We also have the Logitech MX Master 3 mouse and keyboard, which I think is called Logitech MX Keys. We have a 4K monitor that I think I scored from Costco, my Canon M50 camera that I film every video on, these strangely named Sony headphones that I'll put on screen, my AirPods Pro, and then as a bonus, I'll include this Herschel bag, which I use to carry all those electronics when I travel, but not the monitor. It doesn't fit. I'll link to all of these products in the description below. I give them all my Frankie stamp of approval. Number 3 is actually more of a service than a product, but it's a videographer at our wedding. Now, first of all, we went way over budget on our wedding, and most people do. No regrets there, but one of the last things we almost cut because of the budget was a videographer. But somebody told us it was the best purchase they made for their wedding, so we bit the bullet and went for it. However, I did negotiate them down to just $1,000 because they agreed to only film and give us the raw footage so that we could edit our own video. That task turned out to be far more difficult than I thought because of how big the files all were. But after 1 year, we finally finished our beautiful wedding video and we love it so much. If you want to see it, I'll link to it below. It's pretty personal, but that's okay because we're friends because you're a subscriber, right? Number 4, a Vespa. And I've mentioned this one a lot, but back in 2018, I ditched my car after it was totaled from being vandalized on the street, Beyonce style, I'm assuming, and I used my insurance check to invest in a Vespa. I got my motorcycle license, which did cost a little bit, but I've otherwise cut my transportation costs down by 90% at least. Plus, it's a ton of fun to ride, and it's very easy to find parking. Once again, I'll link a video detailing the Vespa costs down below if you want to learn more. Lots of great links, by the way, down there today. And finally, number 5, paying for help for side hustle projects. While my YouTube videos are 100% my baby, my creation, my 3 books that I published in the last 3 years did require a lot of help from other talented people, and that help doesn't come cheap, but it was totally worth it. I actually found amateurs to help from $7 Craigslist ads, and I was very pleased with everybody I hired. I loved all 3 of my book editors I've worked with. My 2 book designers were incredible, and my formatting person from Fiverr was not so great, but that's why I prefer finding my own help. Anyway, if you're considering self-publishing your own book, first of all, do it. It's the most fulfilling thing ever, but it's smart to pay for help. Do not try to do it all yourself. And by the way, don't do it expecting to make much money. Again, though, it is so rewarding to complete such a large project. You'll be super proud forever, just as I am of all 3 of these books, which you can conveniently find on Amazon. Get this one, it's new. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this open, honest look into my worst and my best purchases. Hopefully it got you thinking so you can avoid my mistakes and also replicate some of my happy successes. If you have any favorite or least favorite purchases from your last, let's say 5 to 10 years, please do share with me in the comments. I would love to hear about it so I can learn from you. Or let me know if you super relate to something on my list. Otherwise, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it, check out all those links below that I mentioned, or watch this video about my other favorite purchase I made recently, our first home. My name is Frankie. Have an awesome week or weekend ahead. I'll see you there, or I'll see you next week on the next one. Thanks.